Welcome to this week's edition of the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriot Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Rubaker. Springford defeated Methacton 28-7 this past Friday night. 2 wins in a row for you here, Coach. Haven't been happy with the effort there. And once again, you got your second start under your Yoder as your quarterback. Talk about his progression, and obviously we're going to talk to once again another big night for Jamal running the ball for you guys too.
Yeah, obviously we had to change our approach a little bit with Trent and kind of peel back a little bit. And he did a nice job. He did what we asked him to do. He handed the ball off. He even, he got a little ankle sprain at the beginning of the game and taped it up and kept going. So that was good to see as well.
Yep.
In terms of his toughness and his mental toughness. So we had a better night from the offensive line. We caught the ball when we needed to. It was an overall good effort. I would have liked to see us finish a couple more drives in the first half. We still committing stupid penalties.
Yeah, well,
and there's no other way to no other way to say it. We had a couple holding penalties way down the field that don't make a whole lot of sense. And we also had, an unsportsmanlike, which makes zero sense, especially on the play we scored a touchdown. So we had a touchdown call back, not real happy about, that. And
Yeah, I mean, once again, you talk about your 4 scoring drives were, positives. You're putting drives together. All your obviously negative possessions out there was some sort of drive killer involved, whether it was I don't want to say incomplete pass, but maybe not the right read, penalties, all of those things. Your scoring drives were you used the word efficient. It seemed to me we're running the ball, hit them with a play action. It looked like the drives obviously where you struggled. Something's holding you back from scoring the ball.
The one drive we got, trying to think how we got the ball. We were driving, the one drive killer we were driving, and we missed a block on the backside on first down on a play, and that really hurt us. Now we're in second and 10.
Behind the sticks, yep.
Some of those things, we had to overcome them. We're not really in a position right now to overcome. Well, the other one drive killer was 3rd and 36. So
yeah, it was. That was your penalty drive. That was.
We don't have a lot of those. We don't have a lot of those plays, but we got to play within ourselves, and that's a big thing. Play within this, it's a smaller box than it was.
I think, and that's good
play
for
within it.
It's good to hear you saying that. All right, we used to have the arsenal of this. We got to be really good at this arsenal the rest of the way through here too. Right? I like that approach right there. The one thing you've talked about in the show, and we'll hit in defense, but defense got you some turnovers.
Yeah,
some of them were really big. Couple red zone turnovers that helped you guys out. So you got that aspect of the game a little bit back.
Well,
too.
I mean, and you need to look at the whole situation in the game. We intercepted 2 balls in the end zone.
Yes.
Okay, which thwarted one drive. We had fumbled a kickoff, and that gave them an opportunity at the end of the half. We screwed up a coverage on the first play where it was almost a touchdown, and then got the interception. But those 2 plays were huge defensively. I was very disappointed at the end of the half when we allowed a 2-minute drive that was all runs to score. As was our defensive staff. Not real happy about that. But other than that, other than that drive, they played pretty well. The plays that they're longer runs, and they didn't have a lot of offense on Friday, but their longer plays were breakdowns in assignment. And so, we keep harping on those things, but we'll get to that then.
Yeah, and I like, once again, another first quarter 0-0, kind of feeling each other out a little bit. And then you get off to a really good start in the second quarter. You put points on the board, but 2 weeks in a row where you kind of had some lapses before you get in halftime. It's those last couple of minutes, the past couple of weeks, it's kids looking ahead to the halftime break. Obviously it's got to be a point of concern, because if Methacton scores there, it's 14-14, and they're getting the ball to start.
And they're getting the ball to start.
Right.
The second half.
Talk a little bit. Hey.
Well, the kickoff situation, the fumble.
Somebody just trying to make a play.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't negligent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's negligent to put the ball on the ground, but the intent wasn't negligent. And we had to we overcame it. But, the drive killers were the biggest thing in the first half.
And like things you can like show guys and be like, listen, look at this here. This play's a touchdown if we don't do this. Hey, this is a 40-yard gain. Now we're getting, it's a 5-yard gain because of your penalty.
Looking back, when we watched the film, that's the kind of things that we were saying. Like, guys, if we do what we're taught here, boom, look at that hole.
Yeah.
If we run, there were a couple situations even at the end of the game where Jamal wasn't in that, if we run the play, we had like 5 minutes left, we got the ball back. Touchdown. You're going 80 yards for a touchdown, but you do your own thing, and that's not long-term success.
No good. Yeah.
No
All right.
good.
All right, Coach. With all that being said, let's take a look at the offensive highlights from Springford and Methacton.
Offensive highlights are sponsored by JC Auto Service.
Jamal obviously had a great game, 233 yards on 25 carries. That was our first touchdown.
Good vision, too. He's got the safety going one way, kind of plants his foot and gets the safety crossed up here. See there?
Ran counter lead there, and nice job by Lynn Bellard and Declan Finney. You'll see it from the end zone here. The kick out.
Boom, boom, there's another one.
And then the safety kind of didn't come up at a good angle, and Jamal just cut back on him and got to the end zone. This play was an unbelievable play from Jamal.
Acceleration through the hole is huge.
Yeah, you'll see it on the end zone copy a little bit better, but they actually blitzed the gap and got through. And Jaden McLeod, who was pulling, just ran the kid. You can see him; he's still running the kid there. And Jamal cut back on it. You'll see it the best from the end zone. So kid blitzes, we miss it. Jaden just runs him through. And then Jamal just kind of hits that little crack and goes for a touchdown.
Good foul there at the end there.
We ran a lot of two-back stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
We ran a lot of two-back stuff, and Braden Welsh did a nice job leading on this play. And then you see him pick up the inside linebacker.
Just gets enough.
And we blocked well down the field there and got into the secondary and turned the field around.
And that's all Welsh is trying to do, just keep that linebacker from getting a clean shot on Jamal.
Well, he's trying to not get any shot on Jamal. All right, this is our second touchdown, I believe.
Yeah. This is that full house, back house. You guys did a lot.
Backfield and just kind of wedged in there. And we had another one then in the second half too, right here. This is a different play, different side. It's like off tackle as opposed to the other one was ISO. So
just gotta make that one guy miss, and he's in for 6 right there. All right, Coach, good stuff right there. You'll talk to his defense. We'll give the defense
we'll
guys
talk defense.
All right, make sure you stay tuned through the commercial break, and we'll be back with the defensive highlights from Springford Methacton.
Welcome to the Rothman Orthopedics Urgent Care and Walk-In Centers. When dealing with pain or injury, our urgent care and walk-in centers are the ideal place to start your care for all of your orthopedic issues. Our team of physician assistants are available to treat patients 8 years of age and older for a variety of orthopedic issues, including sprains, strains, tears, back pain, fractures, and weekend warrior injuries. No appointment is necessary. Don't wait. Start the path to recovery at the Rothman Orthopedics Walk-In Center or Urgent Care.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriot Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, now's the time. We're actually on the road here for a couple weeks in a row here, so you got nothing really going on at Springford here, but obviously Brown and Orange week here. You got T-shirts going on sale?
Yeah, there's whiteout
T-shirts available.
The other option that we had is still just arrived in California from China, so it's not going to happen this week, but stay tuned.
Okay, stay tuned for another announcement here coming up here in a little week. So where can the kids, I know the kids are big watchers of the show, where can the kids go to
Cafeteria.
Cafeteria.
Lunches, 9th grade and 10 through 12
T-shirts available.
Yep.
Some sort of slogan.
$10.
$10. All right, sounds good.
For the love of Rofo.
Oh, yeah. Rofo seems to be a big part of the theme this year.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked defense here. You talked about in the show how, like, we got to win some turnover battles, that sort of thing. And your defense gets you 4 interceptions, 2 in the red zone, gives you some short fields. Once again,
3 in the red zone, the opposite red zone.
Actually. Oh, yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah. So you get the 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
You get a couple QB sacks with snacks, not snacks. Guess what I'm thinking about. Get a QB sacks out of the kids. So things you've been talking about, you saw some improvements of. And once again, they get that stop at the end of the first half, and then they get that big stop out of the the start the half there, then they kind of.
Yeah, we talked about that at halftime, like how big that was, getting the stop at the end of the half and coming out of halftime. Like, we got to get a stop right here to start of the second half. And our defense responded. You know, like I said in the first segment, the plays that they made were missed assignments or missed gaps, basically. And, you know, we got to cut those out, right? We got to clean those up, especially going into this week. But, you know, if you look at the overall, if you look at the offense output for us versus them, you would think it should have been greater than 28-7.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that was an emphasis, like, guys, this is why it was only 28, you know, because we didn't do what we needed to do. But the defense did an outstanding job. I think they're starting to settle in a little bit in terms of their roles. You know, we had a couple players out again, of course. You know, every week it seems like we're saying somebody's out.
The walking wounded you guys are.
We are. It's really, really frustrating because it, you know, we're not doing anything differently in practice in terms of like, oh, you might think
extra hitting or
yeah,
whatever.
you might think we're just like running into brick walls in practice. We're not doing that. Some of them are freak things, but we'll see. I think we should be relatively healthy for the guys that weren't out for the season this week.
We talked about the 4 interceptions. One of those interceptions, rarity, you get it from a defensive lineman too. Like that's a rarity, you would say.
That's the one I meant in the first segment where the first play was a negative play offensively. But yeah, we got a defensive line interception. We had 2 sophomores with interceptions, Dalen Palmer and Jack Strzeminski, and then also Brady Welsh was the one that had that interception in the end zone, which was a really intuitive, smart high school football play.
And like you said, that's them drive. Like they had put some momentum together.
Yeah.
That was a really big kind of like, hey, you know, we're here to play. That was a momentum, as they would say in the game, right there a little bit too. All right, Coach. With that being said, let's take a look at the defensive highlights from Springford and Methacton.
Defensive highlights are sponsored by JC's Catering.
Well, you're going to see all of these interceptions. This is the first one. This is Bryce Roberts with an interception.
You don't see that one too often.
You don't. And I couldn't figure out. I guess it was tipped. I'm not right there. If Jake tipped it, he must have tipped it. But, you know, their quarterback, we really like their quarterback. We think he's a pretty good high school football player. And our guys really.
You kind of force him back in the middle there and make that play tough on him.
Yeah. This is the Welsh one.
This is huge for you guys.
You'll see on this one, this is a really nice play. Braden, when you see from the end zone, that's the best view. But Braden kind of doesn't have anybody threatening his zone. So he's just kind of floating a little bit. You'll see him right there, number 7. No one's threatening his zone, and he just goes back. And quarterback was late on it, but he got the pick. This is the one right before the half.
Yep.
Stepped up into the pocket. We got pressure, but we allowed him to step up and get around. And then Jack Strzeminski stepped in front of it for his first career interception.
Filling in for you, the guy stepping up to
Filled in for Anthony Early last week, and he's just over the top right there doing his job. He was doing the right thing there, staying behind it. So, you know, he gets that interception, and then you'll see Dalen Palmer got an interception later.
And that's them just trying to make a play, obviously the last play before halftime.
Yeah. This is the Dalen Palmer interception. He's floating back, and they're rolling, and the quarterback just kind of throws it offline there, and he gets it down inside the 5.
Yeah, it almost looks like the receiver just kind of like stops looking, stops kind of working back for the ball here. Like Ford just kind of stays there, and then all of a sudden he can't believe the ball's there.
Yeah. And that was a tough catch, by the way, too. That was a really nice catch by Dalen, because that ball was moving, and it, you know, he wasn't really expecting it. So
well, that's why those pregame catch drills they do.
Right.
You know?
And I think this is just a sack.
One of your sacks. Yep.
Yeah. This is. I think this was Nick Garzarella, if I recall correctly, coming off the edge. All right, he gets some help there
20.
as well. No, that wasn't his, but I think that was, I don't know who they gave that one to.
Who knows? Who knows who I said at that stage? Just say somebody around the area.
And there's Nick Garzarella's
there it
sack.
is, yeah.
There's Nick Garzarella's sack. So he's coming off the edge, doesn't give up on the play, and retraces and gets a sack, which was an important play there too.
All right, Coach. Well, with that being said there, so we're moving up in the district rankings. I looked at it this week. We're back in the field right now. You're at 12. I looked, so usually the first round, 12 plays 5. Do you know who 5 right now in the current?
I do, but that's all going to change.
I know, but I'm just saying. So we can get a preview of what the district would say right now here for this week, all right?
Yeah.
All right, make sure you come back after the commercial break, and we'll preview the game with Perkiomen Valley. Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriots Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Roth, the head coach, Chad Brubaker. As I was corrected during the commercial, Springford takes on the Brown and Orange this Friday night at Coach Keenan, Thomas Keenan?
Thomas J. Keenan.
Thomas J. Keenan Stadium Friday night.
Also, you got a little stronger doing your push-ups there.
Yep, I know. So I had to that's why I had to take the commercial break right there. So obviously, their only loss of the year. No, they lost twice. They lost to Chester at the start of the year, and they lost to one of the Downingtown.
They lost to Downingtown West.
Downingtown West, who's at the top, then with North Penn being undefeated. So they've built some momentum. They've won games against Owen J. Roberts, who's ahead of them still in the district rankings.
Don't say that type of stuff, because that gets me started.
I know, but I'm just reiterating what's going on in the district rankings right now.
Yeah.
So they've had two wins in the league so far too. So obviously one of these matchups always falls right in the middle of the pack schedule. You know, a real barometer of where the rest of this league is going to go the rest of the way here too. Would you like that?
Yeah, I would prefer, forget it. This is going to be a real test. I won't even get into all that
Yeah,
stuff.
don't get into the other stuff.
Because you get me started with you have to point out about the district rankings and.
Wait, we've shown on the show multiple times the district rankings.
I know that's later in the season,
Okay,
but I'm talking about.
I can't talk it halfway.
I'm talking about when you beat a team.
And you're still behind them.
And you're still behind them, that type of thing.
Bring it up to the District 1 committee. Bring it up at those meetings.
No, that's not who it is. That's not who it is.
But keep going. Go ahead. Keep going on. Let's talk about Brown and Orange.
Okay.
Brown and Orange. So once again, they've won 2 games here in the league. They're
beat Coatesville.
Beat Coatesville.
14-7.
They seem to be once again finding their stride at this stage of the season.
Yeah, they're really interesting. First of all, they always play great defense, and we will have our hands full offensively. They are very aggressive. This is like the 2015, 2016, their defenses, which were extremely aggressive and have a lot of good athletes on their defense. But offensively, they're a little bit different than they have been in that their quarterback is their leading rusher. Everything goes through him. They have given the ball to different backs. They mix in throws, but they're just a little different than they've been. So they're very much. They've always been
You can't use as much previous stuff on PV.
Yeah.
You're kind of really looking at what they've been doing this year too.
Yeah, and I don't even know how to describe it because they've always had very good quarterbacks, right? So it's not that they haven't gone through their quarterback, but they're just relying on him a little bit more in the run game.
More decision making, a little bit too. All right. So we've always talked about it here, the Perkiomen Valley defense. You talked about how aggressive it is. What makes this once again, you've talked about their fronts being an issue for you guys in the past, identifying, once again, for the people out there, maybe first time watching the Gridiron, talk about what Perkiomen Valley does that makes it tough for your offense.
Should we wait until that section, or you just want to get in front of it?
I just want to make sure everybody gets
I'm just making sure we follow.
Protocols.
We have a
I know we have a
menu.
protocol. Yeah.
Well, they're a 3-3 defense, and you don't see it a ton. And they're extremely aggressive. So they're always trying. So what a 3-3 is basically someone over the center, a linebacker, and a nose over the center, and then ends. We call them ends. I don't know if they call them ends, but over the tackles, straight up over the tackles, we call it 0T.
Okay.
And then their linebackers straight up over their defensive ends. So then
So
they
the
have
guys
two,
can go either ways, and
they have two overhangs. So what that creates is their assignment basically is, the nose goes to A, so the Mike has the other A, or the end goes to B, so the linebacker over him has C, and they twist and they're doing all kinds of different things, and it can become, for high school kids especially, it's very difficult to pick up. Now, there's not a lot of college teams that do it because they have offensive linemen that are seasoned and, don't panic. But you really, as an offense, you need to stay on your track, because I keep saying, if someone disappears, someone's showing
coming.
up.
Yeah.
So, but high school kids, don't always trust their own instincts and things like that. So we got to really work on that this week. They're very good in the secondary. They're very excellent at linebacker. They're big and good up front. So it's going to be, it's going to be a challenge.
And we've always talked about a staple of their offense here is they always kind of hit you with some screen games a little bit. So once again, talk about why they're successful with their screen games in the past too.
Well, they're good with their screen games because they run a variety of them. They're good with their screen game. And the one thing that Coach Heist does very well offensively is like something looks like something else, and then all of a sudden it's not.
Okay.
It's something different. And he does an excellent job with that. It's going to be a challenge on both sides of the ball.
Once again, this game's always been pretty good throughout the years, that sort of thing. So, all right, let's take a look at Perkiomen Valley, Brown and Orange on offense.
Upcoming game highlights are sponsored by Tom's Car Wash.
Who are they playing here? Boardtown?
Boyertown,
Got
the
it.
Bears. So they just ran a little bootleg action, pretty much traditional bootleg there, faking that and then rolling out. Here this was a little bit of a coverage mistake by Boyertown. That was a relative. I think I can make that throw. They run a lot of outside zone or wide zone, all right, and they're pretty good at it. They usually bring a lead back. Here, Boyertown lets them cut all the way back across the field.
You see that jet coming across there, and that's what they'll give it sometimes on the jet too.
A little bit of a coverage breakdown there again against Boyertown. A little rollout, and then
Can't let anybody get behind you.
well, you're not supposed to. And then they run another bootleg and get the drag across the middle for a touchdown. So, again, they're doing more like I'm still trying to help you with this. They're doing more like pro-eye kind of things than they used to. They used to be way more spread. How about that?
Yeah.
They used to be way more spread. There you go.
And once again, you're incorporating some more run, and then you start worried about the run, and then they obviously have the ability to throw the ball then too against you.
Yep.
All right, now once again, you talked about this 3-3 from the defense. Does that mean 6 guys are coming, or will some of these guys kind of?
Sometimes. It doesn't always mean that, but there's 6 guys that are always going to be relatively in the same spots, and then they have 2 overhang linebackers. So they basically are a 3-5,
And then they have essentially
overhang,
2 cornerbacks and 1 safety kind of guarding the
The
center of the
overhang
field.
guys are kind of like hybrid safety linebackers.
Yeah.
But long story short, like you're going to get those 6 in the box every time, and they're going to do different things. They're going to blitz from different angles. They'll bring a lot of pressure, and they're always downhill.
And
So
once
that's
again,
difficult.
you're going to put yourselves in Brown and Orange shoes. They're saying, hey, we got a sophomore quarterback on the other side. He's essentially played 2 games. Like they're gonna try and make life hard on Trent on Friday night.
Oh, I would expect so.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So he's got to be on. He's got to be able to see and identify and recognize what they're doing too.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the Brown and Orange on defense.
Upcoming game highlights are sponsored by Tom's Car Wash.
All right, so you see the stack there, and you have the overhang coming off the edge.
We've got to
He
block
picks
that
up
guy.
the fumble. I guess it wasn't a fumble because they cut the video short. But
Toss, nothing going.
No. Boyertown did not have a very successful offensive night. They came right back to it, too.
Yeah, there it is.
That didn't work either.
Here they're trying to run quarterback, little option, but here comes that
They
cornerback
did-
sticking.
Yeah, they did run that successfully earlier in the game, and they tried to come back to it. They spread them out here, tried to,
Nothing.
a little. They got 4.
Yeah, not much going on right there. Hey, quick question. If we're calling them Brown and Orange, how do they talk about us during this week over there?
I
you know
think
what
they
the-
say yams, which I think is a really off, like,
They call us Yams.
yeah, but that doesn't even make sense.
Well, Yams rhymes with Rams last time I checked.
It does, but so does lambs.
So you think they should call us Lambs?
Well, if you're trying to keep it in the same category, that makes more sense.
Okay.
Like we have nothing to do with sweet potatoes
No.
or any kind
I'm
of
not a big sweet potato guy at all.
any kind of tubers in general. We're not associated with. Rams don't eat potatoes.
Well, let's not give them an answer what they can call
Well,
it. stress.
like it's fine. It's good natured. Like that's the one thing about this week. And can I do a PSA real quick?
Sure. Yeah. We're
Like
rocking
our student section and our student body, and hopefully theirs too. Like it's all good natured fun, right? Until it isn't.
Yeah.
And we should not be doing anything that embarrasses somebody or that is vulgar.
Totally agree.
None of that. And we've tried to talk to our kids ahead of time about that. Like obviously I'm talking about the football program. We can't be doing anything or talking about shenanigans.
Sure.
And it needs to be, it can be an intense rivalry without the threat of stupidity.
Yeah. It's a great way. And once again, stay off the electronic.
Correct.
Just go with the kids. Go to Perkins Valley on Friday. Have a good time with your kids. Root for Springford. That's all we're
want.
asking for. That's all. Stay off the phone during the game. Actually put it in your pocket. Cheer, pay
Grab
attention to what's going
t-shirt.
on. Yes.
Grab a t-shirt, wear the t-shirt.
And make sure the senior class
scream.
knows that school is open for business on Friday too.
Yeah.
We're off Thursday.
Yeah.
But we're open for business on Friday.
Yeah.
So just make sure everybody's fully aware of the
all those
schedule
things.
this week of the school.
Parents, send your kids to school on Friday.
Open for business.
Right.
We're open for business. Well, Coach, best of luck to you and the crew Friday night. All right. Make sure you tune in next week as we recap the game with the Brown and Orange and preview the one with Boyertown. For the head coach, Chad Brubaker, I'm John Brennan. See you next time on the Gridiron.